One of the most common questions that I get from women in my community is, how can I skip my period? Actually, my best friend is getting married and she had exactly the same question. Therefore, this video. So maybe you're about to go on holiday, maybe you're getting married, or maybe you've got a big work event. And when you open your cycle app, you realize that your bleed is due on exactly those days. It can be stressful, right? For many women, just the thought of bleeding during those moments feel like the worst timing possible. And it's not just the inconvenience, it's the pain, the load moods, the energy dip, and maybe just the way that you feel about yourself when you bleed. Now, let's zoom out for a second. On average, you menstruate about 12 times in a year for about 40 years of your life. That's roughly 480 periods, thousands of days. Do you really want to spend all that time dreading your own biology? The bigger shift, long term, is learning how to make your periods less painful and also more predictable, and actually feel like a version of yourself you can accept. Because imagine life when you don't blame your biology, when you're on your own team every single day of the month. But I also get it. Sometimes you just need a short-term fix. So let's make this video about that. Let's break down your options. Now, if you search online for how to skip your period naturally, you will find suggestions like apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, cinnamon tea, aspirin. Now, these are not reliable. They might sound natural, but science doesn't back them up. So while they are not that harmful, they won't guarantee you skip your bleed. If you're someone on hormonal birth control, it's going to be very straightforward for you because if you're, for example, on the pill, instead of taking the placebo or the sugar pills for a week or take those 7 days break, you just keep taking the pills. You just keep taking the active pills. And that's going to skip your period. But if you're cycling naturally, meaning that you're not on any form of any hormonal contraception, things look a little bit different. Here's where understanding your biology actually helps. So in the luteal phase, progesterone keeps the uterine lining stable. So a few days just before your period, progesterone is going to drop, and that's what triggers your bleed. So if you take prescribed progesterone pills before your period, your body gets the signal to keep the lining for longer, and that's going to delay your bleed. But you have to be mindful that there are some possible side effects. Things like bloating, breast tenderness, swelling in your legs and fingers. Now, the prescribed progesterone pills, it's a short-term solution. It's usually about 20 days, but it's not contraception, so it's not meant for longer use than that. Now, if your big event is still more than 4 weeks away, your doctor may prescribe starting hormonal contraception so you can control when you bleed. But you have to be very mindful of one small but very, very important detail that I just want you to be informed about. Starting hormonal birth control for the first time can trigger side effects, and really intense side effects. Things like fatigue, headaches, like unbearable headaches, mood swings, bloating, low moods, almost feeling depressed. And sometimes those side effects can feel even worse than your period, that period that you were trying to avoid. So there's a trade-off. Short term, you've got these hormonal options, but they come with a risk. So the bigger question is, what's your long-term approach? Because the real freedom is not in skipping your bleed once. It's in having regular cycles, less painful periods, and learning how to work with your biology instead of against it. So it's things like learning how to incorporate more anti-inflammatory foods, minerals like magnesium, teas like raspberry leaf, tools like castor oil packs, essential oils, CBD, and meaningful lifestyle changes that support your nervous system and your hormones. Because excruciating pain, mood crashes, or weeks of fatigue are not normal. A healthy period should feel like mild cramps. Yes, sure, there is some contraction of the uterus, a little lower energy, but nothing that disrupts your life. So yes, in short term, you've got options like progesterone or skipping the placebo week of your contraception. But long term, the real solution is learning your cycle, preparing your body, and shifting how you live with your hormones. Because you've got around 40 years of periods. So that means thousands of days where you deserve peace, not this punishment. So my advice is this. If you need a one-time solution, talk to your doctor about the safest hormonal option for you, but don't stop there. Put in the work. and learn how to regulate your cycle, reduce pain, and start loving yourself, even on your bleeding days. Because your period, it was never the problem. It's the system that taught you how to hate it and taught you that pain was normal. Let me know in the comments, have you ever tried to delay your period? And what worked for you and what didn't? And make sure to subscribe if you want more content on how to live more in sync with your biology. Sending love, always.